Hi, everybody. Welcome to Back to the Ballot Box, our rally. We are so excited to be here with all of you tonight. I am Stephanie Young. I am the executive director of When We All Vote. I was so excited that I had to pull out my voting merch from last year. We're so excited to be back with you all. There's so much work to do. And we're so glad that you're coming back over to do it. So first of all, again, I can't thank you enough. You could be doing anything like binging Manifest on Netflix or working with your kids right now or getting some rest for tomorrow, but you decided to be here. And we want to know where you're from. So please type in the chat, give us your name, your state. If you're affiliated with an organization that we work with, let us know who you're representing. We want to know where you are from and how you learned about When We All Vote. So go ahead and put that in the chat right now. Thanks again to those of you who helped us last year. We broke so many records. 160 million Americans cast their ballots. And we've never seen that type of turnout in literally years. And it's because of people like you, people who stepped up in their communities each and every day, organized and helped mobilize and get folks out to vote, and also made sure they were registered and ready to vote. But now, as you know, state lawmakers around this country have proposed more than 500 bills attacking our freedom to vote and restricting our ability to get folks registered and to help them cast their ballots. And we know that is targeted at certain communities, people of color, young people, people with disabilities, and the working class. These voter suppression tactics are negatively impacting the right to vote for so many. So to combat these efforts, we are activating thousands, including you on this call, next week to help us make sure our communities are registered and ready to vote. During our Back to the Ballot Box, that's the name of this rally tonight, Back to the Ballot Box Week of Action, we are really focused on three things: your vote, your community, and your power. So we are calling on voters to go to whenweallvote.org, check their voter registration status. You got to make sure you're ready, and fight for our voting rights. We got to get into this fight by calling on the Senate to pass federal legislation like the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act that protects our right to vote. So don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms. It's super simple. We're at When We All Vote to stay up to date on all the work that we're doing so that you can make sure that you are plugged in. But before we get to all of that, I am pleased to introduce one of our special guests for this evening. He is one of our amazing co-chairs. You might know him as the point guard for the Phoenix Suns. Not only is he a good person, he has a huge heart and he's about the community. And we are so excited to welcome Chris Paul. Everybody give him a virtual hand clap and welcome him to the stage. Chris.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for the introduction. Man, I'm so inspired by you guys' passion to volunteer. As you guys know, our democracy does not work without the ability to vote and to speak up and fight for your rights. So thank you guys so much for being here. As a co-chair of When We All Vote, our passion is to get Americans out to vote. Get out and vote. We broke so many records last year and we want to continue to do such. It's been an unbelievable journey and there's still a ways to go. Thank you guys for stepping up. Thank you, because we all know that time is the most valuable thing that we have. So you guys volunteering, giving up your time to make sure that everything, goes smoothly is of the utmost importance. So enough from me. As we know, voter suppression is real. We definitely got to continue to get people out to vote and urge them to vote. But I want to tell you guys about a special guest that we have here with us tonight. She needs no introduction. She is the real MVP. She is our forever First Lady and the creator of When We All Vote and one of the most charismatic, amazing women that I've ever met. Here is Mrs. Michelle Obama.
Hi. For so many years now, I've been traveling the country, meeting all sorts of folks like you who are passionate about doing everything we can to make sure everyone they know is making their voices heard in every election. And along the way, I learned a little secret. When it comes to connecting with people, when it comes to understanding the issues and the motivations of potential voters in your community, There's someone who can be far more effective than me at getting out the vote in your community. And I'm talking about you. You know your communities best. You know the people you need to reach. You know the history, the nuances that your neighbors care about. And so I want to ask you, will you join me in this important work? The work of engaging more people in our democracy couldn't be more important, especially right now when our right to vote is being threatened. So we have to double down now. It's going to take all of us to make sure our communities are registered and ready to vote. That's why I'm asking you to volunteer with us or join our voting squad program. We need you because when we all roll up our sleeves, when we all pitch in, when we all vote, then we all do better. Thanks, everyone.
Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us tonight and to introduce Mrs. Obama. I hope that her words were encouraging to you, considering that we all need you in the fight, and you are the most important part of When We All Vote because you help us move forward. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, and Chris also mentioned this too, there are over 500 new voter suppression bills that have been either introduced or passed all across this country, and they're making it harder for us to vote. Organizers across the country have been working very hard to fight back. These bills have now passed in states like Georgia, which is my home state, Florida, Arizona, and most recently, Texas. We are joined by some of those amazing organizers on the ground, including Fernanda Maldonado, the field director for Move Texas. Fernanda is a first-generation Texan born and raised on both sides of the Laredo border. In 2018, she joined Move Texas as a field organizer fellow and loved organizing her community so much that she eventually became the Austin field organizer in May of 2019. It takes a special person to organize a community and to really love it and to dig in year after year, and Fernanda is that. She began as a fellow and then helped dramatically shift the Move landscape in Central Texas as the Austin field organizer. She now leads Moves in one of Texas' largest field departments in areas of voter registration, civic education, which is super critical, and developing youth outreach programs, and much, much more. She is based in Austin. Please give a warm virtual hand clap and welcome to Fernanda. And if you're from Texas in the chat, let us know. Turning over to you, Fernanda.
Thank you so much for that intro, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. How are y'all doing today? I am so stoked to be in community with you all and just tell you all about the incredible work our organizers, young leaders, and team at Move Texas have been doing across the state. For those of you who may not know who we are, Move Texas is a nonpartisan grassroots organization that is working to build a democracy that is both accessible and representative of young people across the great state of Texas. So at Move, just like at When We All Vote, across lots of other organizations, National Voter Registration Day is like our Christmas, the most wonderful time of the year when we all get to come together for an all hands on deck day of coordinated action, placing young people at the forefront as civic leaders of their campuses and their communities. So before we tell you all a little bit more about what we're doing in Texas this year, I do think it's important for us to underscore the context and special significance of National Voter Registration Day this year, following months and months of attacks on our democracy. So in the wake of anti-voter Senate Bill 1, voting and registering to vote have really become acts of civil disobedience. For instance, in a state where a concealed gun license is considered a valid form of voting ID at the polls, but your student ID is not, young organizers have showed up to the Capitol time and time again, oftentimes waiting over 24 hours to testify against these voter suppression bills. And were it not for their efforts, the outcome of these bills truly would have been much, much worse. So we are organizing today in the same spirit of defiance that can trace its lineage back to the radical roots of the voting rights movement in this country. This fight brought in countless of new voters and activists and organizers from really every corner of our state. These Texans have been empowered to share their stories and get involved in the fight for a better future. And that is a power that no politician or law can take away. This is a generation of civic leaders who are really going to fundamentally change the face of politics in our state. And when it comes to getting more people involved in this fight, well, everything is better in Texas. So, like I said, despite all the opposition that we faced, we are still working extra hard every day to make sure young people have a voice in our democracy. Personally, National Voter Registration Day has a big significance to me. It was actually my first day out on the field registering people to vote my senior year in college back in 2018. And after that day, I really never looked back. Not to toot our own horn, but at MOVE, we've really registered the highest amount of people on National Voter Registration Day for 3 years as National Voter Registration Day partners since 2017. And truly, there is nothing more empowering than being able to break down the barriers to civics to someone, a young person, a first-time voter that is first learning how to navigate this process for the first time, especially in a state that makes it as complicated as Texas does. And although we don't have the reach and access to campuses that we did in previous years due to the pandemic, that is not stopping us from engaging in the largest celebration of voting in the country and just bringing as many people as we can into this celebration. This year, again, since it wouldn't be very safe for us to host the massive parties that we've been known for, as you can see from the slide there, we are distributing our events far and wide, inviting more young people to be a part of this national movement, a part of the celebration, and lead their own voter registration drives across the state. Our goal at MOVE is to organize 65 voter registration drives across the state, activate 185 volunteers, and register 3,000 people in a single day, all across Austin, in Houston, San Antonio, Laredo, Dallas, Fort Worth, Corpus Christi, and more. Most importantly, build that grassroots leadership going into this pivotal election year that is going to be 2022. We know that young people and people of color are showing up to claim their power at the ballot box like never before. So join us as we celebrate a whole day dedicated to meeting young people where they're at, making sure that our friends and our families and our communities are registered to vote and ready for their next upcoming election. And thank you all so much. With that, I will pass it back over to you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Fernanda, and thank you for all the work you are doing in Texas. That is such a big state, and there is so much to do there, and we're so excited to be working with you as partners. Fernanda mentioned this, and I was so excited at the top in the beginning talking about back to the ballot box that I did not make it clear that next week is National Voter Registration Week of Action. It is a day that we celebrate each and every year, but we like to make it big, and we're going to be able to make it big with you. So now we have one more special guest before we get into the meat of this. I'd love for you to welcome Miss Regina Hall. She's a When We All Vote ambassador. You may remember her from movies like Girls Trip, which is a favorite of mine, or the series 9 Perfect Strangers on Hulu now. Turning it over to Regina.
Hi everyone, it is Regina, and I just want to thank you all so much for all the work that you are doing with Mrs. Obama and with When We Vote. It is so important. As all of you know, National Voter Registration Day is right around the corner, and the elections are in November. Everything and all the work that you are putting in right now is so important, and we are all so grateful. So I just wanted to drop in and say thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Regina. We love Regina. And we love each and every one of you. We are so excited at When We All Vote to have a new national organizing director. Her name is Amanda Hollowell. She is based in Georgia, actually Savannah. What a beautiful place to be in. We love her and we're so excited that she is on the team. And I am going to throw it to them to take it from here. But thank you all for being here with us tonight and stay tuned for much more. And Amanda, you got it.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. And this was just such a great night and the energy is so good. And I just really want to capitalize on that and talk about how we are going to make a big difference this fall with our National Voter Registration Week of Action in celebration of National Voter Registration Day. But y'all, we need your help to make an impact. Every year here at When We All Vote, we honor and celebrate National Voter Registration Day on September 28th with numbers of partners and volunteers all organizing events all over the country to register voters. To date, nearly 4.5 million Americans have registered to vote. And on National Voter Registration Day in 2020, 1.5 million Americans registered to vote on that day alone. All of us on this call should be making a commitment to organizing something during this whole week of action to register voters from September 25th to October 3rd. That's why we're asking you to sign on to participate in this week of action and to make sure voter registration is part of anything and everything you are doing next week. Let's talk about how you can take all of this great energy from tonight's call and make a big difference this fall, because so much is at stake this fall and in 2022. It's critical that we get everyone registered and get everyone ready to go back to the ballot box. So now I'm going to pass to my co-host, Miss Arisa. Arisa?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda. And you all heard it, everyone. You heard it from Stephanie. You heard it from Fernanda. You heard it from Amanda. You heard it from Mrs. Obama. You heard it from Regina Hall. It is so important. It's more critical than ever that we're getting our communities back to the ballot box. So let's talk about how you will participate in this week of action. You see it on the slide there. We are asking you to do two things during this week of action. One is to sign up to register voters in your neighborhood, at your school, somewhere in your community. Whether you're setting up a voter registration table or you're working with organizations and small businesses in your community, we need your help. And you will use our link, weall.vote/VR drive to get started. And we're putting that in the chat right now for you all. And secondly, you sign up at that link. What's next? The next step is that during this week of action, we need your help to register 3 people to vote and or to help them check and update their voter registration. So those are the 2 things we're asking you all to do during this week of action, to sign up to join us and register voters, and to help 3 voters check and update their voter registration or register to vote. And this really matters, everyone. We could potentially register thousands of voters, thousands in just 1 week. That alone is another huge reason to get involved. But in case that wasn't enough, if you sign up tonight, if you sign up on that link, weall.vote/VR drive, we're going to give you a free volunteer toolkit. It comes with stickers and yard signs and all the merch that you need to make a big difference during the week of action. No matter what you're doing, again, whether you're just standing outside your dry cleaners in your community, or you are working with others to register as many voters as you can, it all matters. You may feel like your work is just one drop in the bucket, but I'm telling you, every single conversation you have, every single voter you talk to, every single community you serve, every single question you answer, it all matters. And that is exactly why I need to bring on another special guest who can help me speak to exactly that. She is one of you. She is one of our When We All Vote volunteers. She is one of the best and brightest voting squad captains we have on deck. Joining us from the Washington, D.C. area, she is Miss Caprecia Miller. In 2020, Caprecia hit the streets to register voters on Black Lives Matter Plaza. And Caprecia, we have dubbed her VLOTUS, Vote Lady of the United States. That is who Caprecia is. She is a go-getter. You name any place you have ever been in the DMV area, she has registered voters there. So Caprecia, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I'm so excited for you to tell everyone how you're thinking about this week of action. And also, you know, how regardless of where someone is in their journey, they can make a really big difference with us. So passing it over to you, Caprecia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Arisa. Hi, everyone. My name is Caprecia, and I am a voting squad captain in the DMV. The National Voter Registration Week of Action, it is so important to me. And I'm so glad each of you on the call are also committed to help your communities get registered and ready to vote and as we head back to the ballot box. Last year, in the height of George Floyd protests, I took to the streets of Washington, D.C. at Black Lives Matter Plaza and registered voters. I reached and registered hundreds of voters there, many of whom were actually first-time voters. And in my local community in Northern Virginia, I quickly became known as the Vote Lady. I interrupted basketball games and registered young adults on the basketball court. I dropped off flyers at my local homeless shelters. I even walked my mall parking lot in the scorching heat in Virginia. I will tell you, I set up shop at a nearby laundromat and also conducted voter registration drives across the street from my local post office. I literally posted flyers in every business place that will allow me to. Oh yes, please remember your local barbershops, nail salons, and those beauty salons. They are definitely a hit for voter registration and flyer drop-off. This weekend, during the National Voter Registration Week of Action, I plan to head back to Black Lives Matter Plaza in Washington, D.C. My strategy, I'm going to make sure I take plenty of the official When We All Vote voter registration form flyers with the QR code that allows voters to easily register, check their voter registration status, and make any corrections to their registration status on the spot, make any changes they need. Of course, I'll have my hand sanitizer and I'll definitely be wearing a mask. And during the weekday, I plan to visit many of the same local spots as last year. I'm also excited to co-host a virtual karaoke night with Pacey and Janelle, two other spectacular voting squad captains here in the DC area. The voter registration opportunities are so endless. We here at When We All Vote, I tell you, we are a team that definitely knows how to think outside the box and get creative when it comes to voter registration, despite the pandemic. I hope each of you are excited as I am about next week. So let's get ready to get into some good trouble as we head back to the ballot box. Arisa, back over to you.
Yes, Caprecia, we are good trouble. That's what this week of action is all about. And thank you for all of those incredible tips, Caprecia. You are so right. People can do this work anytime, anywhere, any place. And I'm glad that Caprecia mentioned some of the tools that you will need to do this work. That's exactly what I want to dig into next. So we have everything that you need to make a big difference with us this fall. We have 3 resources. I'm going to go through them super quick. Number 1, we have the link that you will use to sign up to register voters. And that is at weall.vote/VR drive. Remember, everyone, that when you sign up tonight to register voters, you will be directed to next steps to get your free When We All Vote volunteer toolkit. that has literally everything that you need, all the free swag you need to represent When We All Vote in your community when you are out and about registering voters. Number 2, we have our Back to the Ballot Box toolkit. That is at weall.vote/toolkit. And it has tons of helpful pieces of information, from how to have a conversation about voting, including a conversation guide and answers to commonly asked questions. It has an election protection hotline that you can direct voters to if they have some very specific questions about their voter registration status. It has do's and don'ts of how to register voters and how not to register voters. And it has information on how to direct people to register to vote using our When We All Vote QR code. You heard Caprecia mention that. That is a super handy tool that all of you can use so that you can register voters anywhere, anytime, any place. And remember, if you are joining us from one of our incredible community partner organizations, y'all have your own specific, unique voter registration links and QR codes that our team has sent to you. Remember, everyone, that we have everything that you need to make a difference, and you can access it at weall.vote/toolkit. And lastly, number 3, we want you to report back. So we have our volunteer report back form. Tell us what you did. Tell us how it went. Tell us how many voters you registered, and any feedback you have for our team. We want to hear it. So go ahead, claim your free merch, sign up to register voters at weall.vote/VR drive, download that toolkit, and when it's all done, report back to our team at weall.vote/report back. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to you, Amanda, to go through next steps.
Whew, that was a lot. But I think, what did we call her? FLOTUS? Float with the V. So Voting Lady of the United States. What Miss Caprecia said, be resourceful and seek opportunities to register voters. That's what this is all about. So here are some tips to remember. Be proactive and creative. Take the lead in starting these conversations. Think about groups that you're already a part of, people you already speak to, making voting registration part of like whatever outings or gatherings you have going on, whether that's setting up a voting registration table in the lobby of your place of worship after services, or bringing When We All Vote flyers with that QR code to your workplace and setting up a voting registration drive at your community center. The toolkit is your roadmap. This is how we get there, right? So remember that when you download our toolkit, you'll receive all the instructions you need to host a successful voter registration drive or have a successful conversation about voting. We have tons of resources and guides and answers to commonly asked questions there in the toolkit. So make sure you download it tonight, and you're going to download it from weall.vote/toolkit. There's so much you can do to make a difference, y'all. Regardless of how you choose to take action, remember to keep it nonpartisan. We want people to make their voices heard because that is what this moment and movement needs. And that's what our democracy is all about. And don't forget that when you sign up to host a voter registration drive or register voters during the week of action, you get a free volunteer kit to rep when you're out, doing our voter registration drives in style and When We All Vote style. And today is the last day. So y'all have to midnight to sign up for one of your voter registration drives, fill out the form, and get a free kit for the week of action. Your free kit is going to include postcards, flyers, and just more things to help you represent When We All Vote while you're out in the community registering voters. Again, all you need to do is to sign up to register voters at weall.vote/VR drive, and you'll receive detailed instructions on how you can claim your merch in the confirmation email. And with that, let's talk about these next steps. So 1, We're going to sign up to register voters with When We All Vote during the week of action at weall.vote/VR drive. 2, you're going to download our Back to the Ballot Box toolkit at weall.vote/toolkit. Remember, this is your key to anything voter registration related. And 3, you're going to report back. You're going to tell us the how, the who, the when, and the why. And that's going to happen at weall.vote/report back. You can also post in our Facebook community, and that is at weall.vote/Facebook. Send us all your photos from your events and tell us how everything went. We really want to hear from you. That's it for me. I'm going to pass back to Risa to close us out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda. So we all have our marching orders. We all know exactly what we need to do. So now I think it's time for us to have another special guest who has graciously joined us this evening. She is Elizabeth Williams. She plays the center for the WNBA's Atlanta Dream. We know them. We love them. We have registered voters at Gateway Center. We are so happy to have her. And I will have you know that in addition to dominating the court, Elizabeth is an organizer in her own right, challenging her team and her fans and her city to raise their voices in support of Black lives. So Elizabeth, you are awesome. We are so excited to have you. And please, everyone, help me welcome Miss Elizabeth Williams.
Hey, everyone. I'm so happy to be here just to share this space with When We All Vote, because the work that you're all doing is super, super important for democracy. And I'm in Atlanta, Georgia right now, and we have been on the front lines in fighting for voting rights. And I saw firsthand how much of a difference volunteers and organizers really make in local and national elections. So thinking about our league of just 144 women, we really made a commitment to voting, to voter registration, to education, and we ended up making an even bigger impact than we could have imagined. So a lot of times local elections are forgotten. 2020 with the presidential election, it's exciting, but 2021 is even more important. So hopefully people recognize that. And I know When We All Vote is, putting that in the forefront in this week of action. And we have so much going on, whether it's, with the pandemic, with social justice, everything that's happening. And we have a lot going on with people trying to suppress our votes and our voices. So this work is more important than ever. Everyone needs to get out and vote, make your voices heard, and it really does make a difference. So come November, make sure you're ready. Let's get it done. Let's get ourselves registered, and happy National Voter Registration Week.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And you're so right. We got to get this done. We got to put our feet on the gas. It is go time, not just in Texas and Virginia, but in states across this country. So we are not falling asleep at the wheel. We are going to register voters. We are going to change this country and transform the world. And with that, our time together tonight has come to an end. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all the work that you all are doing in your communities to change our democracy for the better. Remember that it's not about what one of us can do, it's about what all of us can do together. Thank you so much for being with us on this incredible journey, and I can't wait to see what you all do. Bye, everyone.